If you're taking 5 grams of creatine daily for cognitive benefits, you're probably wasting your money. I know that sounds kind of crazy. Every supplement company, every fitness influencer, and every expert says 5 grams is the magic number, but the research on brain function tells a complete different story. And most professionals and people over 30 and 35 are missing out on the dramatic cognitive improvements because they're just simply following outdated advice. Creatine is definitely something that everybody's talking about, even though it's been around forever. So we're gonna dive into some really interesting data here in today's video. So this is gonna be good, I promise. So you're in for a treat today. Make sure you keep watching. Let's get going. What's going on, guys? My name is Andres Ayesta. I'm a registered dietitian and I've been taking creatine for over a decade. And before I get started into all of that, I help busy professionals, men and women over 30, to optimize their health and their fitness. My background is working with pro athletes, and now I help people just like you and me trying to become the best versions of ourselves. Like I said, I've been taking creatine for a while, and it wasn't until I started diving into the latest cognitive research and increased my dosing that I understood why so many people say that creatine doesn't work for me. In this video, I'm going to show you the evidence behind why higher doses of creatine may be the key to unlocking key cognitive benefits that could transform your mental performance, and why the standard 5-gram recommendation might be holding you back from the brain benefits that you're looking for. But first, let me explain why creatine is one of the most underrated cognitive enhancers available and why most people are taking it completely wrong. So here's what most people don't understand about creatine. Creatine is one of the most researched supplements in existence, with over 30 years of studies backing its safety and its effectiveness. But here's where it gets interesting for professionals or people in general just like you and me. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy, and creatine, well, it plays a crucial role in energy production at the cellular level. So when your cells need a quick energy, they use something called ATP. Think of it as your cellular battery. So creatine helps regenerate ATP faster, which means your brain cells can maintain higher energy outputs for longer periods, just like it would for your muscles, which is why it increases strength and sports performance. Now, most of the research that established the 5-gram standard was focused again on muscle performance and strength gains. And for those purposes, 5 grams were great. And 20 grams was only spoken about when you were doing a loading phase, which was just a specific amount of time, usually a week, where you were loading up your storage of creatine within your muscle. They were not talking about the brain at this point. Let's look at some studies. According to a systematic review by Dolan and colleagues, brain creatine increases can range from negative 0.7 to 14.6% depending on the dose that is used. The majority of the studies show 3 to 10% increases, but here's the key finding. Doses of 20 grams or higher per day showed the most consistent results in healthy populations. This is why you might be taking 5 grams daily and wondering why you're not seeing the cognitive benefits that everyone talks about. You're not broken, and creatine isn't overhyped. You're just following the wrong protocol for your goals. So what does the latest research actually say about creatine dosing for cognitive performance? Well, this is where things get a bit interesting. The most comprehensive recent analysis comes from a 2024, so very recent, meta-analysis by this guy named Zhu, XU, and colleagues that looked at 16 randomized controlled trials involving 492 people. They found that creatine monohydrate supplementation significantly improved memory function, attention time, and information processing speed, which means like it's the ability of your body to be able to process information at a given time. But here's what's fascinating. When these people, these researchers, started looking specifically at the dosing, they discovered something that changes everything of what we're talking about. A groundbreaking study in 2024, which was a randomized control trial, tested a single high dose of creatine, which was about 25 grams for a 70-kilogram person, and found remarkable results. A 10.3% improvement in word memory test accuracy, processing speed improvements of 17 to 29% across a bunch of different cognitive tasks, and almost 14% increase in numeric task accuracy. You're wondering how they test this is like have you do a bunch of computer tests and looking at different things and reaction speed and things like that. I've done some of those studies before, and it's really cool the way they look at that. But imagine what this means to you for like productivity at work, for example, and your ability to be able to get more stuff done. Now, the effects on this study began at 3.5 5 hours and peaked at 4 hours and lasted up to 9 hours. This wasn't from just weeks of supplementation. This was from a single optimized dose. Another important finding comes from this German paper that referenced by this guy named Dr. Darren Kando, and it showed that 10 grams daily approximately double the percentage increase in brain creatine content compared to lower doses, with improvements observed in gray matter, white matter, and thalamus, which are different parts of your brain. Approximately a 10% increase in brain creatine. Now, here's what really caught my attention when I look at some of these studies. The research shows that cognitive benefits from creatine become more important as we age. So this is why I'm speaking mostly to people over 30 and 40. A focus made analysis in 2023 found that creatine supplementation enhanced memory performance in healthy individuals, but there was a better effect in those older adults that were 60 plus. So the older you get, probably the better this is going to be for you. So if you're watching this and you're over the age of 50 and 60, this is even more important for you. Now, a lot of people are usually worried about the safety, creatine, my kidneys, and all that kind of stuff. Well, the reality is the safety profile of creatine is very solid, and it's been studied for decades. There's a really interesting comprehensive analysis from 2023 that concluded that creatine supplements have been shown to be safe for human consumption, with studies testing doses up to 30 grams daily in healthy adults with no adverse effects. Now maybe you have a kidney condition that may warrant some advice from your medical professionals or from your doctor. So word of caution when it comes down to that. Now here's a key point I want to make today. We're not talking about mega dosing. We're talking about using research-backed doses that match your cognitive goals, not just following muscle building protocols. No, so this is like a 2-for-1 thing, because you're gonna get the benefits of muscle building, but at the same time, the cognitive benefits. Now, let me share what happened when I applied this research to my own supplementation. I've been taking creatine for over a decade, and for most of that time, I was doing exactly what everyone else does, 5 grams per day, thinking I was covering all of my bases. I felt my muscle benefits, my strength improved typically when I take it, or at least it feels good, and recovery was always better. But I never really noticed the cognitive benefits that people talked about. And it wasn't until recently that I started increasing that dose based on the cognitive research that I was finding. And here's the thing about creatine for brain function. It's not something that you feel immediately like caffeine. The benefits are more subtle, but incredibly impactful over time. And what I noticed first was my working memory. I forget stuff, and as a dietitian, I'm constantly processing complex nutritional information. I gotta remember client details, I gotta make quick calculations, calorie requirements, protein needs, all that kind of stuff. And about 3 weeks later, at higher doses, I realized I wasn't really reaching for my notes as often during consultations and things like that, because I could hold more information in my head and process it faster. I could remember the specific amount of information that a client provided me like 5-6 months ago in terms of specific things that we were talking about, which I honestly, now think about it, was pretty interesting. Now, the second thing I noticed was sustained mental energy. That afternoon brain fog that hits around 2 to 3 p.m., well, it became much less pronounced. I have made some changes to my diet, so that could also be related to that, but I was able to maintain sharp focus through longer work sessions without feeling mentally drained. But what really convinced me was just the consistency. With caffeine and other stimulants, you get peaks and crashes. But when we're doing optimized creatine dosing, my cognitive performance, it feels more stable throughout the day because, well, think about it. You're trying to fill up the tank of a specific energy source that your brain can access at any given time. Now, here's what's also interesting. I'm not the only one making this switch. Several doctors and health professionals I trust and respect are doing the exact same thing. They're moving beyond the standard 5-gram recommendation based on the same cognitive research. This is why I now recommend higher doses to most of my clients, particularly those who are over 30 or 40, who are looking to maintain and improve their cognitive performance in demanding professional environments. But really, anyone can benefit from this if you use our brain, that is, which I'm hoping that you do. So let's talk about the practical application. First, let's be clear about the type of creatine that you should be taking. Creatine monohydrate, period. If you're seeing all those fancy creatines with special names and marketing claims, creatine alkaline and all that kind of stuff like that, they're mostly BS. Creatine monohydrate is the form used in virtually all of the research. It's the most cost effective and is the most proven. I would not fall for the marketing hype around creatine HCl or buffer creatine or any other type of specialty form. Save your money and stick with basic creatine monohydrate, which you can get from anywhere. Now, for dosing, this is where you need to think about your specific goals. If you're interested in the muscle performance and strength benefits, sure, 5 grams daily is still perfectly adequate. But if you're looking for the cognitive benefits, particularly if you're over the age of 30 and 40, and even so more after 50 and 60, well, you may need more. Based on that latest research for cognitive optimization, I personally recommend starting with 10 grams per day for most people. Now, the German study that I mentioned showed that 10 grams daily double brain creatine content compared to lower doses. Now, if you're over 180 pounds and have particularly demanding cognitive requirements, maybe you might consider 15 grams daily. Now, for acute cognitive demands, like you have an important presentation, you have an exam, or just high stress situation, there are some other studies showing that a single dose of 0.3 to 0.35 grams per kilogram of body weight can provide significant cognitive benefits within 3 to 4 hours. Just imagine if you weigh, I don't know, like I weigh about, let me just do the math in here for you guys. So I weigh 175 pounds divided by 2.2, it's in kilograms, that's 79 kilos, times 0.3, that means it's about 24 grams of creatine that I need to be taking per day. So that is about 23 to 24 grams of creatine that I need to be taking in that one single setting. But I could also take this every day. Now, the key is consistency for your baseline dose. Take it at the same time, ideally every day. Recommend with your morning routine so you don't forget. And like pre-workout supplements, timing around exercise doesn't really matter for those cognitive benefits. You don't need a loading phase. That's another outdated concept from muscle building protocols, really. The research shows that benefits appear to plateau within 4 weeks. So just start with your target dose and maintain it consistently. And remember, the research showing doses up to 30 grams daily are completely safe in healthy individuals. But again, always consult with a healthcare provider if you have any kidney concerns or other health conditions. Creatine is one of my most favorite supplements. Now, here's what you now know that most people don't. Creatine isn't just a muscle supplement, and the standard 5-gram dose might not be optimal for the cognitive benefits that you're looking for. Again, based on a lot of the research, higher doses may be the key to unlocking the brain benefits that could potentially transform your performance. For about $30 to $35 a month, because the prices have increased, because again, a lot of people, like the demand is going up, you have access to one of the most research and effective cognitive enhancers available. You just need to use it correctly based on the science, not outdated protocols that are out there. Now, here's the thing though. While optimizing your creatine protocol can make a significant difference, it's just one piece of a much larger puzzle. The people that I work with who see the most dramatic improvements, not only in their cognitive performance, but in everything else, aren't just taking the right supplements. Supplements are just one little piece of the, again, puzzle that I mentioned. They're optimizing their entire system, their nutrition timing, their macronutrient timing, their sleep protocols, their stress management, and how all these variables work together because your body is the system that works in unison. Now, if you're ready to stop guessing with your supplementation and you want a personalized approach to optimizing not only your cognitive performance, but just what I like to call your life performance, I want to extend an invitation to you. I'm a coach who coaches every single area of your health, and I'd love to let you in on my system. There's something I created called Blueprint Strategy Assessment. This is essentially a call, which is for free, by the way. We'll create a specific game plan, not just for your creatine protocol, but also for your entire optimization strategy based on your specific goals and your health markers. This isn't a sales call, like a lot of people really think. It's a strategy session where we'll map out exactly what you need to do to achieve the goals that you're looking to do, not just the cognitive performance benefits, but potentially you want to lose extra fat, you want to do better in your lifts, you want to gain muscle. It helps you identify the blind spots that you're not seeing, and at the same time, and then help you identify the key domino that is going to help you change everything. The link to book this blueprint assessment call is in the description below. And if you found this video helpful, please, I want to ask you a small favor, just hit the subscribe button. I'm constantly sharing evidence-based strategies based on the latest research that most people never hear about. Maybe as a way to say thank you for the value you receive from this video, to just simply hit subscribe, hit a like in there, drop a comment, and share with somebody who could probably find this valuable. And if you decide to book a call, well, I look forward to talking with you and figure out exactly what the next steps that we can take, whether together or on your own. Remember, main takeaway from today, you don't have to spend hundreds on improving nootropics when one of the most effective cognitive enhancers costs just 30 to 35 bucks a month. You just need to use it correctly based on the latest science. Hopefully you enjoy this. We'll see you on the next video.